Hello everyone out there, myself Ashim Das, and in this video we are going to discuss about modals. So, do you know about the modals? The main modals we will be looking at are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, ought to, and dare. These are the main modal verbs. We will study how to use these verbs in a proper way. By the end of the lesson, you will be a lot more confident in your choice of modal verbs in different situations. Now, let us first understand what are modals. Modals are special kinds of verbs which express mood like ability, possibility, permission, request, suggestions, and order, advice, obligation, etc. Do you know the features of modals? They are never used alone. Modals are always used with the main verb or principal verb. Modals are always followed by the base or the first form of the verb. Okay, so now let us look at the uses of each of the modals starting with can. The first usage is to express ability in present and future tenses. Example, he can play table tennis. The second usage is to express general possibility. He can get the job. The third usage is to seek permission. Example, can I write in black pen? You can also write, can I write with black pen? The fourth usage is to define nature of someone. Example, she can tell lies. The fifth usage is to make a suggestion. Example, you can call a taxi. The sixth usage is to make informal request. Example, can you make some coffee for me? So, these are the various uses of the modal verb can. That's all for the word can. Now, let us go to the next one, which is could. We'll learn how to use the word could. The first usage of the word could is to make a polite request. Example, could you spell your name please? It's a very polite way of asking. The second usage of could is used as past tense of can. Example, I could do yoga when I was young. The third usage is to describe an action that did not take place. Example, he could have got the job if he had applied. The next usage is to express possibility in the past tense. Example, I could have completed the project yesterday. So, these are the main usages of the word verb, that is modal verb could. Now, moving on to the next modal verb may. The main usage of this verb is to ask permission. Example, may I join the class next week? You can also use can and could for asking permission, but may is the most polite modal verb to use. The second usage is to indicate a strong possibility. Example, I may go to the party. The third usage of may is to give permission. Example, you may watch television now. The fourth usage is to express wish. Example, may all your dreams come true. Asking permission, possibility, giving permission, and wish. These are the main ways we can use modal verb may. Now, let us go to the next one, might. Might is used as past tense of may. Example, he said he might change his mind. The second usage of might is to show remote or weak possibility. Your parts might be in the living room. So, we can understand how might modal verb is used. The next modal verb to look at is shall. Shall is used with first person simple future and only when time is involved. For example, we shall leave for Delhi this evening. The second usage is to make a request. Example, shall I take this pen? The third usage is to make a suggestion. Example, how shall we go about resolving this issue? The fourth usage is expressing a duty in formal documents and contracts. Example, the borrower shall pay the installments in arrears. So these are the various ways how we can use shall. Then we shall go to the next one, and our next modal verb is should. Should is used to express future in past. And example, he said that I should attend her party. The second usage is to give advice. Example, you should avoid junk food. The third usage is to express obligation or moral duty. Example, we should respect our parents. The fourth usage is to express regret. I should have answered the phone. So here we see how the modal verb should is used. Okay, now we shall go to the next word, and that is will. Will is used to denote future action. Example, Tina will go there tomorrow. The next usage is to make a promise. Example, I will pick you up at around 6. The third usage is to predict something. Example, I have a feeling that he will turn down my invitation. The fourth usage is to volunteer. Example, you look exhausted. I will allow you to rest. The fifth usage is to make an informal request. Example, will you put the waste out please? So we can see how the modal verb will is used for different expressions. Let's go to the next modal verb, and that is would. Would expresses habitual action in the past. Example, she would go out for walk daily. The second usage is to make a polite request. Example, would you please sit down? And the third usage is to make an offer. For example, would you like to have some tea? Moving on to the next modal verb, must. Must is used to express a necessity felt by the speaker. Example, I should go now. The second usage is assuming something to be true. Example, she must be thrilled with these high marks in her tests. The third usage is to express obligation or moral duty. You must obey the law. The fourth usage is to express possibility. She must have done her work by now. So we understood how to use the modal verb must. Now let's go to the next one, and the next modal verb to look at is ought to. Ought to is used to express moral obligation or duty. Example, we ought to keep our surroundings clean. The second usage is to express strong possibility. Example, she ought to pass this time. The third usage is to advise. Example, we ought to do some exercise. So our last modal verb is dare. Dare is used in negative and interrogative sentences. Example, how dare you speak to me like that? So I hope this video about modal verbs is crystal clear to all of you. Thank you so much. Till next time, myself Ashim Das wishing you bye.